All right, this hangout is on the air live. Welcome, cage side peoples. It's your boy Sean for the first of, I don't know, probably 3 if Gino's up to it. Cage side lives over the Royal Rumble weekend. And last night we had NXT TakeOver to kick off WWE's festivities. And NXT, I want to talk to D. So here's D.
Hi, everybody. If there is anybody, but that's okay if there isn't.
There's
Whatever,
one
Sean,
right now. It's early. You know, people watch this later. That's all.
Whatever. You and I will have fun just talking with ourselves, anyways.
Oh, wait. You spoke and it shot up to 13 viewers. So there, you're the draw here. Obviously.
No. Anyways, but let's talk NXT.
Yep. Yes. So let's. I guess we can backtrack. So we had a lot of stuff because we had the Triple H comments coming into the show where he was not happy with where the brand is right now.
I'm a little disappointed.
So that's like I wrote about it in my recap. Now, in retrospect, especially, I'm like, that's totally like the dad trip. Like, I'm not mad at you, but I'm a little bit let down. I feel like that might have been a little to say it publicly. He's too much of a crafty player to not have had that been like a little bit of a motivational tool.
He's always playing us. He's always playing us. I think that anytime that Triple H ever says anything, we should just be like, is he messing with us? Isn't he messing with us? I mean, he has a tech to. He has kind of a point if he wanted to be. I'm a little disappointed, but I mean, it's not.
Well, I think that's part of why that's why he is smart about this stuff, because there's some truth in there. I mean, he can't deny it. So he's owning up to the product not being as hot as it was a year ago, but also like motivating us. And he probably knew he had a dope show set up with the Rollins run and everything. So he's lowering I mean, yeah, they don't call him the cerebral assassin for nothing, D.
Well, that's actually brings me to that point that I had avoided talking to you about in the pre-show.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Was, all of our expectations were lowered significantly for this show. There wasn't a great build to it. Triple H is I've been a little disappointed in things and blah 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 blah. And so we're all like, okay, so maybe this is going to be the first takeover in a while. It's not so hot, And so again, lowered expectations. The show is good. But because our expectations are lower, or do we possibly think that it was better than it actually was? See, that's the point. Because think about how many you go into a pay-per-view and you think, oh, this is gonna be a shit show, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this was great because of all this unexpected crap. But was it really great?
It's a good question.
It's kind of like, is SmackDown really good, or is it only good in comparison to Raw? It's kind of like
right.
Just saying. I mean, it.
I think there's something to that, because like I said, this is when you withheld from me on the pre-show. What I had said was I was not expecting much of this. I was sort of dreading it. I don't know. Dreading it is too much of a word, but I don't know. It was a weird day yesterday. I don't want to get into politics or anything, but my Twitter feed is a mess. The world's falling apart, and like nobody's excited about this show. I'm not that excited about this show, and then I don't know. It hit the spot for me. I thought it was a. So maybe you're right, but maybe if I go back and rewatch it and I watch it in comparison to, I don't know, Dallas or what, I don't know. I always keep saying I'm going to rank all the takeovers, but then I never go back. I never have time to go back and watch them. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's one thing that I noticed today is that a lot of the talk is about the Rollins thing and not about anything that's like inherently NXT. So,
that's kind of a bad sign. Yeah, I mean, not a bad sign, but that puts a question in your mind as to this is clearly not the main. This is not the main show. So I mean, when the Rollins thing is a much bigger deal, which I'm really glad that they did that, because I mean, I think I'd commented on something on one of the posts the other day on Cage Side where I was like, what an idiot. Like, because he's right. You're not wrong. Right? Everybody knows where Triple H is. It made perfect sense for him to come to, and it's like, if you don't show up at this, you are the dumbest of the dumb. And he did, which is good. So I got to take that back. You're not a total idiot, Seth, just a scumbag. So.
You're still mostly an idiot, and he's got the worst of like heel characteristics and face characteristics. He's kind of dumb, but he's still a jerk. I don't know. Yeah, but. I thought it was. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they do this going forward. If this was just like a one-time deal, and this is what I wondered is this the beginning of NXT as the third brand, where because NXT's always sort of they use NXT continuity when they want to, but they ignore it when they don't. And of course they do that with everything, but maybe if this is actually like stuff that happens on NXT matters on Raw and SmackDown now, that's interesting. If Triple H is suddenly the same guy, and I thought his post-match promo, the Fallout promo about this is the creator, but Seth just summoned the destroyer or whatever. I thought that was actually it's cheesy Triple H bullshit, but I thought it was a good answer. I mean, it's the best answer I think they could have come up with.
No,
but.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I tend to like, I have so part of my problem with so many promos is like the cheesier it is or the more that I'm just kind of like, oh, come on, like the less that I like it. But it doesn't mean that it's not effective. It just, sometimes I'm just like, wow, this is, all right. Like especially the babyface promos are the worst for me because I can literally like, talk, like I've worked so hard and I've done so. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I mean, I believe you, but I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And it's mean and it's terrible, but which you know what? I'll bring this up again later because it actually applies to one of the matches. So why don't we go with, let's just jump into the matches.
Okay, let's do it.
I think that'd be great. How did you do on your predictions, by the way?
Oh, I was horrible. It was a dumpster fire. I think I was 2 for 5.
I was 3 for 5.
Oh, you beat me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I didn't really think that Bobby Roode was going to win until that one really nasty spill that Shinsuke took out of the ring. Oh my God. I seriously, I was like, oh my God, did he die? Is he okay? Is he okay?
Yeah, I guess he's not hurt, but I mean, that had to hurt though. I mean, there was no way that was not, I mean, that was a weird looking bump.
He went head over, he flipped backwards out of the thing and like, whacked, I don't know what, but anything on that, he was on he hit the apron hard and then he hit the floor hard. And I know that there's padding there, but it's not that good.
No, I mean, it's not even a yoga. I mean, it's like those mats you used to have in gym class, I think, where they're like, a half an inch of foam with some plastic around it. So
yeah. And that's pure concrete underneath that shit hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even like walking on that. I can't imagine like falling horribly on that.
Yeah, I don't like to fall anywhere, so that's just, I'm a big wimp. Yeah, I actually did. I thought Roode would win. I didn't think it would be that way. The one that I picked that I think I was intentionally being a bit of a jerk, but I kind of thought maybe was I did pick Peyton Royce. So that was dumb of me. But the others were all like legit picks. I thought I got Authors of Pain right. I thought that they would win, and they did that. But Same. I thought Dillinger would win and then like get a beat down afterwards, and they just went ahead with losing for him. And I thought
should have known. You know what? As the match was going on, like actually as soon as the match started, I knew, I was like, ah, shit, Dillinger's gonna lose. I knew immediately because just because of the formula of matches typically in NXT. I just knew the second that it started, the action actually started, I was like, oh no, he's gonna lose. And I was like, I don't know how he's gonna lose.
So were you rooting for a babyface there?
Well, it's Ty Dillinger.
All right, so Ty transcends. You're the
Ty
heel D.
Ty is special in that he was a bad guy for a long time.
That's true.
And I think
they wanted him to be a bad guy for longer too, I think, but it didn't work out that way.
Exactly. But he's so like, he looks kind of like a lost puppy dog, and he's very cute, and so those are positive things because he's not like, scary handsome like Roman Reigns. He's like got a cutie pie face, and so you kind of like, oh, I feel sorry for you, you cutie pie. He's not like Tyler Breeze either, because although they are in a similar class, I kind of feel like they wanted him to step into the Tyler Breeze role after Tyler got
promoted. Yep.
Yes, called up. That's what I was looking for. I was like, up something. There's a word there. Anyways, but people liked him too much.
Yeah, I think if Tyler had stayed in NXT, he would be where Dillinger is. Because I think the crowd was, he was too much fun. The crowd was with him. They would have had to figure out. Because that's the other thing with Dillinger is that's still a heel gimmick. They're like, I'm a perfect 10 and I'm going to taunt you with cartwheels and shit. That's not typical babyface stuff, but
people love him. And
he really, and like even when he was trying to be a jerk, he was still kind of lovable. So
exactly, like I said, he looks like a lost puppy, and you just want to take care of those things, and therefore you love it, and it can't really be bad.
So how'd you like that match?
You know what? I actually thought it was pretty good. I didn't like what Eric Young was wearing because it looked like he was wearing a messed up miniskirt.
He's been rocking. I don't know if it's supposed to be some sort of like gladiator thing, but yeah, it looks like somebody ripped his like pleather miniskirt when he was out.
Or like, you know how they used to make jean skirts out of like you take a pair of jeans and you make them into skirts. That's what it reminded me of, and I was just like, that's stupid looking. Stupid looking. Like I liked his like taunting of Ty in the ring. I thought that was really good. I thought that Sanity interfered just the right amount. I mean, not there were a couple moments I was like, okay, that might be a little much. Like the taking so much time and putting the foot on the robe. That was the one where I was just like, but God, that crossbody from Damo. I mean, what are they calling Killian Dane?
Killian Dane, yeah, he's impressive. He's gonna be.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna be something.
He stood out. He definitely stood out, and I think that, and I realized, I was like, of course, I was like, I don't know why. I mean, I picked Dillinger, I think, because I really wanted him to win, but I should have known that Sanity was gonna. I should have known that Eric Young was gonna prevail because they want Sanity. I think that they want Sanity to be a really big deal. I think that they're going to be a really big deal going forward for 2017. I think they will be.
I think so. I'm still, based on how the other stuff, I'm trying to like figure out how do we get to Orlando and beyond now. And that's what's weird for me. Like, I still think, especially with Roode on top, that's probably your real biggest money match right now. And I know a lot of people think, Ty's not that great. He's not a real main eventer or whatever. But still, with the stories that they're telling in NXT, the big blood feud is Dillinger versus Roode. But it's hard to justify a Dillinger title shot when he can't beat anybody. I mean, I think they covered it well. And I'm going to miss Corey Graves so much. I'm trying not to think about that.
Oh, my God.
Because he was explaining why it wasn't like a DQ. Like, because I was like, well, shouldn't the ref be doing something now that Damo has actually run into the ring to attack him? But Corey covered for it, saying that Dillinger brought them in and taunted them in, so you could sort of, it was still a little bit of a stretch, but at least he was trying to cover it. So I think Ty's a little bit protected, but man, I don't know. I mean, they just keep beating the guy.
No, I mean, you're not wrong, and you made a really good point when you mentioned that maybe they feel like he's kind of the Enzo and Cass, where they don't really need to do much better for him, and same kind of in the same vein that Tyler was a little bit, where it was just like, these are these guys, they're all everybody really loves them. They're quote unquote over.
Yep.
So we don't need to give them any, because they don't need the help.
And those are, I mean, not so much with Enzo and Cass, but with Breeze too, where Dillinger's like that, is he's good for, I mean, you always know he's going to give you a good match. He's not, he's not Daniel Bryan, but he's a really solid hand who can work a bunch of different styles and deliver a quality, get you where you need to go with the story. So just leave the good little worker who gets the incredible pops where he is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. You start to, there's a point at which you just don't take them seriously anymore. And I think that was actually, to me personally, I think that's where Enzo and Cass were, like, I didn't think that they were ever going to beat anybody of any sort of, they just don't seem very good.
Right. Yeah. And, I don't know. So I guess, Ty sort of avoids that because I guess my comparison with the Enzo and Cass thing is that's not the story they're telling with Ty, and I do think he's a better worker than either of them. So like even his losses, like, because I do think, like, especially after Enzo and Cass had failed to beat Blake and Murphy, like the second time, you're like, fuck these guys. I mean, they're fun to cheer for, but I don't believe anything. I'm with them where I am with Peyton and Billy right now. I'm like, okay, whatever. You need to go back to the drawing board and figure something out, because I don't buy you as a threat. Right. Mm-hmm. I still buy as like he's still in the Sami Zayn place where it's like, oh, if he could just figure out the one thing.
If he could just get the one win.
Yep.
just like the one really big, really important, really major win. I think that would do like amazing things for Ty Dillinger, because he there's money in him still, even if he's a little on the older side. He looks pretty good, and he's still good in the ring, and he's not like slowing down at all, which you could say that about some of the others. But
that's true. So how would you justify? So I think, to me, the corner they've painted themselves in is they've already had him like 2 or 3 times now say, I think I'm going to quit, and then something gets him to come back. So what's the next thing that's going to get him to come back? I mean, I guess you could just say, Sanity screwed
revenge.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the easiest. That's always the easiest go-to for any wrestling match ever that I can think of is.
Yeah.
Well, you wronged me, so I have to fix this. And so, for all we know, that'll be his final thing. I mean, if they want,
I'm probably overthinking it.
I mean, I think the obvious thing is to put him back against Roode at some point,
right?
Because they had good chemistry, and you can easily boo Bobby Roode for over against Ty, whereas it's kind of like with Shinsuke Nakamura, he's not necessarily like a good guy.
No, they had to work. I think they had to work I think that was one of the things I really liked about the main event, is that they gave people a reason to hate Roode, even though we're always going to cheer the entrance. But
dude, who won't? I mean,
it's all, especially when you come out there like goddamn 1997 Ric Flair with the with the 80s, with like the 80s looking girls and your purple robe, and that was
they got all those girls from some like local beauty pageant, because that's what Texas is all about.
That's
beauty
right.
Pageants.
The Yellow Rose pageant. Come on down, girls. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Sorry. Channeled my past there for a second.
That's all right. That's all right.
No, I think that's and I guess you get him over. I guess maybe on TV he gets a win back over Young eventually. Although they got to figure out how to do that, because I think they do want to really push Sanity too, like you said. I think that's
what I think that they could.
They got a great theme, a great entrance. They've got they're a good mix of like different types of guys and a girl. That are different
I think this would be a really
career.
good opportunity. I think this would be a really good opportunity to kind of help the tag team division too in general, because we've got Eric Young with his family of people, and there's Ty by himself. Well, what if Ty worked with Heavy Machinery? Those oh my God, what's their names?
Nico, that's Tucker Knight and
Otis.
Yeah, it's Otis now. Thank you. Yep.
I can't remember his last name. It's like Dogovich or something like that.
Yeah, it's got a J and a V and some other consonants in there, but
lots of letters. Lots of letters. But I mean, because if they were his backup for like say a 6-man, that would work really nicely. Yeah. And honestly, the tag team division needs that quite a lot, because there's not much. They've run into some walls now.
Well, not having TM61 actually hurts them, even though I think they were still kind of struggling to find their footing. They were the only other faces in the division.
Exactly. And technically Heavy Machinery is faces. So
true.
At least this is what I understand. So I feel like if they could work with Ty Dillinger and Eric and versus Sanity, that could help. That could help kind of like develop some and get some screen time for some people and get their name out there, get some notice. And plus they're really big. So that would be nice to have against Sanity, especially because of their group is quite large.
Jeez, the NXT tag division is big all of a sudden, because you've got the authors on top, and then now you're going to have Killian Dane, and I guess Alexander Wolf will be the Sanity tag. And then you bring in Heavy Machinery. Dang, it's a lot of beef. Gino might actually watch NXT if they put all that beef on.
The year of the beef. The year of the beef.
Is that on the Chinese calendar? Year of the beef?
No, it's actually the year of the cock. But I think beef makes more sense.
That goes well with cock beef.
But so it's the year of the beef. Nice. Because I think that it's all about. Because I'm also look at the main roster. You've got all of Kane did the post with how beefy is this year's Rumble. but look at all that beef. And then plus you see this upcoming beef. And that's a lot of beef on this table. This is like a whole like slaughterhouse of beef.
They're going to need to reinforce that table for all this beef.
Yeah, no, basically.
All right. So let's see. So that was Ty versus Young. So I thought that was a good opener.
Yeah, I did.
Ty. That's the other. I mean, Ty is great as the first match of the card guy because the crowd goes nuts for him. He gets everybody sucked in. Yeah, and he delivers. Like I said, it's maybe not a 6-star classic, but he delivers a really solid wrestling match, and so you're ready for more. He's a
a good like middle of the road 3-5 kind of guy. 3 to 3-5 kind of guy, and I think that's great to start off. And again, yeah, the energy was good for him. What was the next match?
Then it was Strong Almas, which I also picked wrong.
Yeah. Oh no, I got that one right because I picked Roddy to win because I was like, well, because my reasoning is that he needs it more. You know, like they tried with Andrade and as a face, it blew up in his face. In their faces, and so, but people notice him more. Roderick Strong didn't come in until October?
Yeah, he came in to work the Dusty with Aries right before Aries got hurt. So late September, early October, I guess.
Yeah, but he has like the most generic entrance music ever, and he doesn't have much of a personality or like distinguished look on top of that. So he doesn't. As good of a worker as he is, he doesn't terribly like whatever they're doing for him. He's not standing out.
Yeah.
So I think that sucks for him. But at the same time, but because of all that, I was like, I think he needs the win more, and they can't have all of the you can't have all the bad guys win.
Right.
So
I think Roddy is a guy. He's always been a guy. I mean, if he gets to the extent that he gets over or that he connects with the audience or whatever, it's going to be because he's a really, really good pro wrestler. And that's what he does. I mean, he's always, as a heel or a face, he's sort of bland. Like you said, I mean, his look is, a white guy with short hair.
He's a handsome guy, but he doesn't stand out. Like right. Andrade, for all that he is, kind of wet moppish, he's stunning to look at. I mean, he's got this great, like, he's got his pimp gear when he wears it, and and he has a look that Strong just doesn't really have, which sucks. Like I said, sucks for even Aries has more of a look in his little devil cape that he wears, and his bizarre facial hair, and he's like the size of a mouse, but he kicks ass, but he has a thing going about him that Roderick Strong doesn't.
Yeah.
So again, I felt like he needed, and and they put on a good match.
Yeah.
I felt they put on a really good match.
This was like, I think I don't remember if I tweeted it or not, but I was thinking like if I really cared about either of these guys, I would have been super into this match. And as it was, they did a good job of getting us sucked in just based on the story they were telling, like physically in the ring and how they were executing it. But
they did a good story in the ring. I mean, and I thought that their styles really complemented each other, which, because I think, and you know what, I'm going to jump ahead real quick to the main event, just for a second. I think, like, I enjoyed the main event more than any of Shinsuke and Joe's other matches.
Me too.
And I think that it has something to do with this. But I think that it has something to do with the way that their styles went together. And even though I wouldn't say that Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura have a similar style at all, they don't, but they complement each other better. And I think that was one of the things that was really, really nice about the Almas Strong match, was that their styles really complemented each other nicely. They're both very capable. And even if you didn't give a shit about the characters, which, let's be honest, we didn't.
Right.
You were able to really enjoy the match because it was so technically well done, at least in my personal opinion.
I agree. I think, I think this is the match that is not for the people who are down on NXT because they just put indie dream matches on takeovers. This kind of proved their point, but it was still a really good indie dream match on a takeover. So
no, that's true. It was. It's not even one of my. It's not even one of my indie dream matches. But I can honestly say that in looking at it, objectively, I love wrestling. So I was able to enjoy the shit out of that match because they both did really, really well. And I just hope that they can give them, like, work with them and give them some more, like, personality stuff, something to give them a something, just anything. Jesus Christ, anything.
Yeah. I mean, they did the Fallout video. The Fallout video with Roddy is just another one. Like, I guess, I mean, he's just like, I'm better than you, but I'm still a face kind of thing. I think they could do. I don't know if it's a takeover worthy feud, but you could do like a time. But they don't have any time to fill. They like Orlando's 2 months away. I was gonna say like Roddy versus Roode for the title would be a good little like we're killing time on the weekly show feud. But they don't have any time to kill. They got to start setting up Orlando like next week.
Yeah, no, it's true. Or they'll run into the risk of what happened this time, which is like
where they set everything up in the last 2 weeks before takeover
with no real build. And I feel like I don't even think we got like the full card that they had originally intended to build to because of injuries and whatnot. Again, injuries and whatnot.
Yeah, whatnot. Are we going to talk about the lack? I mean, I even named the show based on the lack of Dash and Dawson.
Yeah,
we were both down on this card because they weren't booked for it. So
yeah, and you know what? And I think that they were supposed to be the sixth match. I think them versus TM61 was supposed to be a sixth match. I mean, I think that was very clear, but it was probably, in all honesty, probably better to have that match not on there so that there wouldn't be a comparison to the AOP DIY match because they weren't sure if that was going to be awesome or not. And again, I think perspective, we were expecting like, God, please last 10 minutes, please don't die, that kind of shit. So anything that wasn't that was instantly going to make the match seem better than it may have actually been. And I think that that's kind of the more expectation you have, the less chance it has to be as awesome as you think it will be. And the less expectation to have, the better chance you have of it being amazing. Right. Which it may not actually be amazing, but because we thought it was going to be shit, it seemed amazing. And I feel like this show really is a good example of that because I liked it. I thought it was a good show, but then I went back and I actually watched a couple of other takeovers to see if it really was as good as I thought it was. And I didn't feel that way afterwards. I was like, you know what? I enjoyed matches on these other shows more. The show itself as a whole may not have been as good.
Well, I think another thing too, I mean, San Antonio was into this match. They were into the whole card. They were a great crowd, and I think that makes a huge difference. If DIY
most of Texas,
if DIY Authors of Pain happens at Full Sail where they're not in the mood, like in the middle of a taping, like in hour 2 of a 3-hour taping, and the crowd's not that into the authors, then this isn't probably that great a match. But man, people get into Gargano and Ciampa.
Yeah.
For the most part, I see it. In some places, I'm not as big a guy. I'm not as big as Johnny Gargano guy as a lot of people are. But I see the way I see the reactions that he gets from other people, and I think, well, why not? I mean, who else are you going to push right now? It baffles me that they don't push those guys, and the Revival more. It's like just because the main roster doesn't treat tag teams as like a big deal doesn't mean you shouldn't. NXT.
Dude, no. I mean, you know what? So let's just finish up very quickly on the Andrade.
Okay. Yep.
So that match, it was good. It was fine. It was not the best match in the world, but it was a lot better than I think people would think. I think it's promising if they can just get them characters and get them a story going. I mean, separately, I don't think they need to run into each other anymore.
No, I think that's
But anyways, okay.
This did its job.
So now we can talk about tag team properly.
All right. So it sounds like you're sort of in so it exceeded your expectations, but obviously it's not a Revival match. I mean,
see, that I think was at the end of the day, I was just like, this is not as good as Revival. This is not as good as Revival. Like, this is fine. It was, you know what? It was, I will give credit to Authors of Pain. They put on their best match that they have had so far. I thought they did really good. I was really very proud of them. I wanted them to win so bad because I totally don't like DIY at all because I hold so much against them for beating my boys, Sean.
Yeah, I know.
So I will preface that by saying, yes, no, I'm super biased as hell. I'm not going to apologize for that.
That's fine. You shouldn't have to. You certainly don't have to here. No, you do you.
No, I mean, look, I love the Revival. I'll probably always going to think that their matches are better. I will say that I do think that in review, having gone back and watched a couple of other ones, that I know that those matches are better.
Mm-hmm.
This one was good for. I thought that was a really excellent effort out of both teams to make what they could have out of this match, which, let's be honest, we all thought was going to be a dumpster fire or a potential dumpster fire, because I had zero faith in Gargano and Ciampa to pull out a good match out of these guys.
And really didn't have that much of a build either. I mean, this was not, I mean, they had one. I mean, the authors attacked them once, which is good. It's better than nothing, and the titles are on the line, so you don't need too much. But this certainly wasn't the kind of the feuds that we've come to expect, like American Alpha Revival or DIY Revival. There wasn't that history there.
Well, and also Authors of Pain, I mean, they don't really do much. They don't really talk. They have Paul Ellering, who is creepy and awesome, but at the same time, he doesn't say much. Like, their strength is in their silence, which is like, so you don't get fired up for them. Like, when Dawson's sitting there and ripping someone apart, calling them fucking tilapia. Yep. I mean, that's harsh. That's cold. That's awesome. I mean, you're like, yeah, and people who totally love to hate the Revival because they're so good, but they're such bastards, that gives them perfect fuel for that. And they can build a feud in almost nothing because they're such bastards. I will still cheer them even though I'm not supposed to, but because I can't help myself.
That's all right.
Whatever. I know when, I'd said on the last one, when AOP fought Rich Swann and No Way Jose for the during the Dusty, that I cheered for them afterwards because I was so proud of them because they did so good. And this was a much better effort.
Oh yeah.
This was significantly better. So they've really been working hard, and it shows. And I'm pretty pleased with that. And I know that a lot of people think that DIY should have retained. I don't think that that's the case because, like I'd said, I just feel like the baby faces are more interesting when they have to chase the titles.
Yep. And this is and that's part of why this match worked for me too, is in the 15 minutes or so that they told a great, Davey versus Goliath story. And there's a lot more interest in seeing that feud over the next couple months probably than there would be in, DIY snuck out a win and now Authors of Pain are really mad.
Yeah, what are they going to do? I mean, they're just going to smash them. And but no stories forward at that point. And I think that when you have a new one, you can either continue the one that you're working on and then get it a real kind of, give it some actual meat, some actual okay, well, we kind of knew they were going to win because they were so huge, but can they be taken down at, WrestleMania weekend, Where is that again? Orlando.
It's TakeOver Orlando. Boy, that does not sound exciting. I'm not crazy about the city names. Brooklyn sounded cool. The rest of them are.
Brooklyn and Brooklyn 2 were about right. Otherwise, I just.
TakeOver San Antonio. TakeOver Orlando just sounds ridiculous to me. I don't know why that one really bugs me. I don't know.
It's because they're there all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're in their backyard, and Orlando is just, I don't know. It's just
they'd be better off at calling it TakeOver Homecoming or some shit like that. I don't know.
See, there you go.
Because that's basically what it is. My God, but I mean, I don't know. So in this match, they had some really good spots. The only one I can really think of immediately is the ending stuff, and that double spear through the. I thought that was good. That was well executed.
They did that. I think. I mean, I'm a bigger Ciampa fan than I am a Gargano fan. That goes back to when he was. You call somebody the Sicilian psychopath, and I'm going to root for them.
Absolutely.
But he's a great hot tag. When he came in and hit the Germans on both of them, it was like, I mean, I popped for that in the privacy of my own living room. I thought I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm with you too. I was very impressed with Akam and Razor in this because they had. Akam, sorry, I don't know.
Akam and Razor.
I like Razor a lot. I think he does a lot of the little things, like when he didn't get the pin after one of their throw one guy into another guy moves that they do. he was like, his reactions were great. I think I like both of them, but I think he's the one I've got my eye on. But I thought they were also after the thing where they had like concussed the one guy with the power slamming the one guy onto the other guy move, the jobbers that they injured at that house show or got injured in their match or whatever.
Yeah.
It looked like they were much more aware of like where everything was this time. Which is a trick. It's a tough trick to pull off when you're supposed to be this uncaring monster, that you can actually still look like an uncaring monster and be conscientious. So I thought that was good. And the other thing about them is that I didn't realize until I started writing it. I think I saw somebody on Twitter mention that they were young, and I looked them up on Wikipedia. They're 22 and 23 years old.
I know, they're babies.
I mean,
can you imagine what they're going to be like when they're like 30?
Exactly. I mean, if
Bray Wyatt's not even 30.
They've improved so much in the last year. I mean, and maybe that's like a quick ramp up, and now they're going to improve a little bit slower from here on out. But I mean, I'm pretty excited about watching these guys throw dudes into other dudes for the next 10 to 20 years.
No, like when they started to do the submission, the arm submission,
the thing,
and I was like, I was literally like, don't do this, don't fucking tap out, don't do this again, because this will be like, that was special. Yep. Don't you take away from that. And I didn't want it. I was like, no, don't you do it. And they didn't, thank God. And then of course we got Razor like slamming, like breaking it up by slamming Johnny Gargano on that was great. I was like, yes, good. Yep. Make him hurt. That's awesome.
That was just for you. That how they rubbed some salt in the old wound and then they vindicated it.
I just because I just felt like that was a special moment, a really special moment for that match, the way that it ended, and to try and like, that was just rude. I was like, I really wanted AOP to win so bad at that moment. I was like, if you don't break out of that, I will find you. I will find you, and I will smack whoever said that was okay.
Tough but fair. Tough but fair. I like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's but I thought it was a good match. I thought it was interesting. It was better than I expected, but not as good as the Revival. It just wasn't as good as the Revival matches. Those are just like mind-blowingly good, and this was fine to me comparatively, but it was better than I expected by far.
Yeah, and I just think, I mean, this is, to me, part of my belief that maybe they should elevate the tag scene in general, and DIY in particular, even though they're not my favorite, is that they've got a track record. I mean, the tag teams pretty much carried them through 2016. Like you said, I mean, I'm a huge Joe Mark. I love Shinsuke, but those matches weren't phenomenal. I mean, the standout matches this is the first card in a while where the tag team match wasn't the clear-cut best match.
Yeah, no, so, it was beyond obvious, and all of them last year, it was the tag match was like, it stole the show. And I would have to say this was the first time that the main event I felt was probably the best match on the card.
It's been a while. Yep.
But yeah, no, and therefore there was a little bit of a disappointment in there. It's like, I'm disappointed in you, NXT, for failing me on that. You could have added the Revival and made that a really crazy triple threat. But
I thought they were. I mean,
didn't go that way, did you?
The last few weeks of build, I thought for sure maybe they were going to add it and make it. So maybe that's, if TM61's hurt, and as we've said, there's really no other face tag teams. Maybe we do get a triple threat at Orlando.
That would be crazy. I mean, but that would mean the Revival has to stick around.
But if you look at how the tag scene,
they don't have anything else to do.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at American Alpha can't even get on TV on SmackDown, and they're the champs. They were lumberjacks this last week. They haven't had they don't have a feud right now. So
and those types of things is where I'm like, see, SmackDown's no better than Raw in that regard, because look, they're just as fucked. They just don't.
Yep. Yeah, they still. I mean, it's still. Yeah, Vince doesn't care about tag teams. It doesn't matter what brand you're on. I mean, that's.
It's true. So, I mean, if the Revival has to stay down, that's fine. And I'm, as long as I keep getting good matches. But my point is I want to see them wrestle.
Yeah.
I need to see them wrestle.
Yeah.
And therefore, they can go wherever as long as I get to watch them wrestle, because that's the ultimate. That's my ultimate goal, is to watch the Revival wrestle. I still haven't seen them live. Still have not seen them live.
Really? Well, I haven't either. Oh no, I don't think they worked that show. No, that was when when they were here in Baltimore. That was when Dawson was out with his ankle injury that he did or didn't really have. But
yeah,
they didn't work that show. Damn it. Yeah, I haven't seen him either then.
Yeah, I know.
Someday.
It sucks. One day we will see
I know.
them. And I just hope that it's not like, them being squashed.
Maybe we should go meet in Texas and see them someday.
Oh my God, we could totally do that if they have a pay-per-view that they're there for, or just a show in general. It's cheaper to fly. Whatever. We'll see them. We'll see them one day, and it'll be good.
We don't have to. We don't have to make all 7 people watching this listen to us plan our itinerary. But all right. Yeah. So that's. I like that match. I think it sets that one. It's pretty straightforward how we set up for Orlando, I guess. I mean, I do think the good thing is I don't think the Revivals. This is just my opinion. I have no inside info, but I don't think they're getting called up. I think that's fine because I think they'd get sort of lost in the shuffle right now.
I agree because I don't think they know what they're. I don't really think that they know what they're doing 100% anyways.
I think WWE / Triple H knows that those guys are valuable. I mean, they were all over our screens yesterday, even though they didn't have a match on the card. They were, the stars of the pre-show basically, and they won awards.
Because they won.
They've been all over social media and online. So so they're not going to disappear, but they do have to figure out what they're going to do with them. And I don't know how you justify. I mean, maybe that's what they were planning because they're dashing. They were definitely planting the seeds of we deserve to be in the title scene still. So maybe they find a way to work them into the triple threat for Orlando. I don't know. Should be interesting. You want a Sanity match though, right? Don't you want Revival Sanity?
I want Revival Sanity. I want Revival AOP. I'd be fine with Revival anyone, honestly. They could just go wrestle some hobos in the street and I'd be fine with that too. No, I'm not.
That's the one I want.
I'm kidding. I know.
I'd watch them. I'd watch some hobos. I don't know. Come on, a little hobo wrestling. There's money to be made there. Great.
Trash everywhere. No, anyways, but yeah, no, it was fine. It was good. It was not the Revival. It's not as good as the Revival, but it was fine.
Not as good as Barclay. Right. All right. So the lady.
This had to be my biggest disappointment.
Oh, or do you want to talk about Rollins some more? I don't know. I forgot. This is where Seth ran in, right?
Oh yeah, no. Seth ran in after that because everyone was super sad that AOP won, or rather that DIY lost. And I don't know. I thought that was perfect. I thought that was exactly what was needed. I did think that it ended a little lamely because they should have been had him totally carried out,
right?
As opposed to just pushing him, surrounding him and pushing him out. I mean, I think it would have been if they'd actually lifted him up and prevented him from even having his just made it a little bit more this is a big huge
That's
thing.
That's what I thought. I mean, I thought it was a cool moment, but it ultimately didn't really do any. It furthers the feud, and I think that's great. But if you just look at what actually happened, he showed up, he yelled, and then he sort of got shoved out of the building, and that was it. So.
Yeah, and it was the first time that people were behind. I think that we're more wholly behind because Triple H was there. This is what killed the whole thing with him and Roman Reigns last year was he was just never really there. And that sucks. So I think them being in the same place really made a difference. I think that will, I hope that that'll do something good for the Rumble today. I don't know what the hell they're going to do.
I don't know. I mean, they've got to address it, I think, especially considering, that's probably our most buzzed about story in terms of traffic on cage side. So I think that's probably everywhere. So they've got to follow up on it. I don't know what they do though, but it should be interesting. Yeah, it really helps Seth get a true babyface reaction. And it's interesting that they did that by presenting Trips as a heel for the first time ever in his little kingdom where he always likes to, take his mark photos with new champions and come out.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was good. And I think it'll be good. I hope so anyways. And I was glad because I was like, oh good, you're not completely stupid. Honestly,
mostly, but not completely.
No, I really thought I was like, are you dumb? I know the baby faces aren't supposed to be the brightest people in the world, but come on. As Seth
come on. You don't have to go the full Sting dumb.
Oh my god.
Come at me, Gino. No. Come at me.
I like Sting too, but no, he's dumb as shit.
I like Sting, but I just don't love. I don't have a vendetta against Sting or anything. But
I just liked him.
I just like to tease Gino. So
yeah, of course. Anyway, so yeah, Seth Rollins, whatever, he's fine. That's cool. He's not as stupid as we thought.
So the women's match is the one. So back to like our theme of like expectations. Like this is the one I was most looking forward to, and I think it was probably my least favorite match on the card. And I'm not saying it was horrible, but I didn't love it at all.
I appreciated the table break.
That was a good spot. I mean, I thought the very little bit of Nikki versus Asuka they gave us was good, which I guess
were messing with this.
That like was exactly. Whole time. They're trying to sell us on that match later, so mission accomplished. But I thought that spot when Nikki hit what'd she do, like a DDT off the apron on her, and then she dove onto I thought all that stuff was good. So, but that was just so little of it.
There wasn't enough. I think it was too much teasing, and like they had to protect Nikki because of the Sanity thing. Because like I said, I think that's gonna be like a focus this year. I think maybe. Yep. Unless shit goes sideways, but I think that Sanity as a whole is going to be a focus for storylines in 2017 for NXT. So they had to protect her, hence having her do a really big deal spot and then be out for the rest of the match.
Right.
Because if they keep her out, then they're more than willing to let these beautiful Australian women who should be so much more than they are. Let them take the pin and look like idiots at the end.
So what do you think? So I am in the camp that it's really dumb that they never tried to pin each other. And I know one person Andrew Swift on the site thinks that sort of fits with their characters, that they are sort of dumb and vain and they wouldn't think of that. Where do you think that, did that bother you at all?
I always feel that way. I always feel that way when it's a 2-on-1 sort of situation, when it's like a triple threat and that two people are like, why didn't, like if Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho are fighting Roman Reigns and it's a triple threat, not a 2-on-1 situation where, whatever, then why wouldn't Kevin or Chris instantly fall down so the other one could right? Like that's logical. So the answer to that is, was it dumb? Of course it was, but it is par for the course and it is expected. You just don't do it.
I just think they should have addressed it something. Like even if they just like argue about it maybe in the ring or something. Like you've known this match was coming for a while. That's a strategy that somebody should have suggested to you. So I just feel like it should have been addressed in some form or fashion. I
agree.
But
I always feel like it should be addressed, but it never is. So I guess I'm of the expectation that it just, you just have to just say, all right, fuck it. They're just not going to turn on each other because that's not the story they're telling right now.
Yeah. So I thought, Peyton and Billy have done a good job of convincing me that they could make this gimmick work, mostly on social media over the last couple weeks. I thought their little crusade to get elected breakout of the year was pretty clever. I liked a lot of those videos that they were posting online.
Where everybody was like, no, like I'm gonna vote for No Way Jose. I'm gonna vote for so and so. I'm gonna vote, and then you have they asked the Revival, who were just like, yeah, we'll vote for you, and while wearing a Bobby Roode shirt, who won the the championship. So the Revival is obviously understands what a winner is.
That's right. Yeah, and even Dash's answer to that was like, okay, I guess we'll vote for you.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, they were the heels, right? So it's heels recognizing heels. They're not going to vote for No Way Jose. Come on.
Yeah, no. I'm sure they all dance to his theme song, though. They're probably they hear it come on, and everybody's butts kind of moving like, yeah.
Even I did that. I hate Jose, and when I saw them live, I accidentally, it was one of those things where you can't control your body. You just sort of start to dance a little bit. I was mad at myself, but it happened.
Dude, the first time I ever heard that theme, I just instantly started dancing in my seat because I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people who every time I hear the Dallas theme song, I still do a specific dance that I did when I was a little bitty kid. So every time I hear that, I'm like, do. Anyways, but no. So his song is super fun, but you're not going to vote for that guy.
And not to jump back to a previous match for long, but man, does Roddy's theme suck. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I said that. He's like generic. Yeah. It's just so.
It's like. It's like, did they get somebody else to do it? Because CFO $, however you say it, has been on such a roll lately, and that one is just trash. It's just nothing. It's like I can't even tell you what it is. You forget it while it's playing. I
don't even remember the tune. Like,
it's horrible.
Because
anyway,
it kind of fits with Roddy, as he's a little bit of a generic sort of fellow. So here's generic rock music.
Yeah.
And
anyway,
fuck it. I just, oh my god. Anyways, but so back to the ladies match. I thought, even though I didn't like it went the way that I thought it was going to go, because I was pretty sure Asuka was going to retain.
Did you pick Asuka?
I did.
Oh, you're smart.
I picked Asuka. I picked Authors of Pain, and I picked Roderick Strong, but I picked Dillinger and I picked Shinsuke. So I fucked up on the bookends, but I got the middle of the show right.
There you go. Yeah, I just thought maybe this would be a way to. I mean, I guess I probably really didn't think that Peyton was going to win, but I thought maybe there would be a way to swerve the story a little bit, and they could just have Asuka kill her on TV next week or something. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all that they went with keeping Asuka. They've got some dominant. Well, I guess the good thing is that Shinsuke has been beaten a couple of times now, but Asuka still hasn't lost.
And she'll wait to lose until I think until Orlando, until WrestleMania weekend. I think she's probably gonna drop it then.
I would think so. I think it's time. I think especially with how they've teased, they made Nikki look like a threat, and they've made us want to see more of that match. Although they're also doing sort of Ember Moon stuff at the same time. Moon called her out on the pre-show, and then Asuka's Fallout video was actually sort of.
Who is that?
Ember Moon. Yeah, like, does she work here? I was like, ooh, that's like some John Cena ether. That's nasty.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I don't know who that is. You know, like, who's that? I don't know who that is. But I thought that fit perfectly with her character, because she's not on her radar. She's like, you haven't done anything to me to make me notice you. Therefore, I don't know who you are, because I'm Asuka and I don't care.
She just successfully asked for and won a fatal 4-way. Like, so, like, I don't know what more I need to prove to you that all of these bitches are beneath me. It's like, that's the whole Asuka character at this point.
No, it's true. I mean, but what are they even going to do? I mean, she isn't going to the main roster anytime soon. I think
doesn't seem like it. Yeah.
I think that's clear. Like, she's. I mean, unless they're just using her for like as a beast, which is a little bit of a disservice, but it's probably the only thing that really works, unless they're going to do some kind of like crazy stable or something. Like, can you imagine a stable that's like her and Shinsuke and like Hideo Itami or something? Like, what do you do with that? You just, but you have to have a manager.
Yeah.
I think they need to, like, I like how that Paul Ellering is doing for AOP, because God only knows what those guys actually. I've never heard them talk. Have you?
Well, they yell in Albanian every once in a while or whatever, but that's about it. No, I haven't heard them try to say anything in English more than a word or two, I don't think.
So, I mean, maybe they need to, like, they take that as the example and start trying to do that again. I think that a lot of people would benefit. I mean, I think even on the main roster, a lot of people would benefit from having a manager or someone who can speak for them, just simply because maybe that's not their strong point.
Yep.
Or maybe that's just not their character. It really doesn't say much. Like, it's like Heyman and Brock Lesnar.
True. Yeah. Who's good at who can say small things, but you don't want to let him have like a scripted promo for very long.
No,
which is always weird, because Brock's a good interview when he's just being Brock, but when he tries to play the character of Brock, which is kind of the same thing, all of a sudden he can't talk well.
Well, he has a disconnect also with his voice, I feel. Whereas, when you look at Brock, you're thinking like roar, right? But then he starts talking, and it's like, I think his voice might actually be higher pitched than mine, and that's
I don't
really
think it's
weird.
Quite that high, but yeah.
He has a very baby-like voice compared to how he looks, but he also kind of looks like a giant baby, so maybe that works out. Like Braun Strowman, his voice is like roar, and that's right for me. Like, that makes perfect sense. Like, he should sound like he's just screaming through death to talk to you and tell you that he's going to kill you.
Like a little baby too, but a really beardy baby.
He has gotten so good. Whatever. Anyways, but enough about that.
Yeah, we'll cover that some other day. I mean, Nikki came out of this as the star to me, which I guess is mission accomplished. I mean, she took the table bump off the stage.
Yeah,
she got
a big deal.
She did another big dive. Yeah, exactly. Take notes, Sasha. Put on a little weight.
Gosh, and she's tiny too, Nikki.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
she's
then this
not a.
guy, she's thick
She's
though.
thicker. She's thicker, yeah. Which I mean, nothing against Sasha. I love her. Like
Oh, me
Sasha's my
too.
girl,
Yeah, me too.
but she weighs like a buck.
Well, they just should. I mean, did you? I don't. Now we're really off on a tangent, but did you watch that British documentary about Sasha and Charlotte's Hell in a Cell match that came out this week?
No, I didn't.
It's
Bother.
online for free. It's okay. It's about a half an hour long, but it's funny because before the match, they actually talk about like, I hope the table will break.
Oh
It's like,
boy.
so you knew it might not do it, and you still built the finish around it. Like
God,
that's dumb.
stupid. Yeah, no,
Anyway,
that is dumb. Like, wow. All right, now, like maybe you guys should have a backup plan.
yep.
Like, I would never go into something like that and not have a backup plan because you don't know. Like, what if somebody's arm got broke in a thing? I mean, like,
I mean,
do you want to finish it? Of course you want to finish it. Like, for all we know, Shinsuke Nakamura might actually be injured. He's probably not, but he might be. You don't know.
true.
He might have that might have not been the ending that we were supposed to get.
So,
I mean, all of those bumps he took were really brutal. Like, it was nice. I mean, that was actually okay. So I guess we can move on to that. So women's match disappointing, but I guess.
I mean, mission accomplished. Like I said, I mean, it made us more excited for Nikki
Future
versus
stuff.
Asuka. Yeah. So
it was a stepping stone on the way to the future.
I don't know what we do with the icons at this point or whatever they're calling themselves. I mean, they've lost to Ember and now they've lost to Asuka. So they're sort of they're not in a great place.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm concerned about the future of the women. They've got more women now than they did in the past. I mean, than they had like right around when after Bayley was starting to, and I made a point in that the one where he was talking about the disappointment of Triple H. I made a comment that the women's division seemed like it was like when I went and looked at it, it was like they were really ravaged by the call-ups.
Yeah.
They lost 8, 9, if you include Emma, in a year.
Yep.
1 year, 9 women gone. That's and considering that they can only have like 4 going at a time, to lose all of them, like bam, like and to even to the point where we were like, is Carmella even ready to go up? Is Alexa ready? Is Nia ready?
Yep.
We weren't sure, but they were up.
Yeah.
So, and so now it's kind of like they're bringing more women in, which I think is good. I think they need to. I think it'll be all right if but it just they've got to like open up some more spaces in there so that everybody has somebody to work with, because you can't just do Nikki and Asuka the whole time. You just can't. It would be boring as shit probably, and will there be like multi-gender, or what do you call it?
Intergender.
Well, basically is it intergender? Yeah, the matches where they have men and women in there, because that might be good, might be interesting, and also could showcase and feature some of the other tag teams or individual male guys to go up against, like Eric Young or those, or Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane. I think I'm not a big fan of like multi-man matches or multi-people matches.
Mixed tag or whatever.
Mixed tag. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that stuff, but the NXT could utilize it because they don't do it very often. They don't.
Yeah, I would be like, when listening to you like sort of brainstorm some of that stuff. It's not something they've done before, so I think they should probably just try it and see if it clicks and use it as a different way to advance some of the stories that we kind of know are coming anyway. So
yeah, and I mean maybe they'll have like another stable breakout to go up against Sanity. Maybe that'll be a big deal later. Who knows? I mean, and maybe that might involve one or more, or one or both of the iconic duo.
Yep.
They also need to talk to Emma and get some pointers. Like her and Dana did it better.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that's part of my problem. That's been part of my problem with Peyton and Billy from the jump, is that this is the third time NXT has done this, basically the same gimmick, because it was the BFFs with Summer and Charlotte and Sasha, and then Emma and Dana, and now this. So they need to figure out some.
You know what I think part of the problem is there is no leader in this group.
No, that's true too.
Like, see, in the BFFs, you had I guess Summer Rae was the leader, wasn't she?
Yep, originally, and then I guess Charlotte sort of pushed Summer out, so you had that story to tell.
Right, and so then Emma was clearly the leader between her and Dana.
Yep.
But Lily and Peyton don't necessarily have a leader between the two of them. They're literally a duo, which on one hand is kind of cool, but on the other hand is a little bit, I think, part of the problem is you don't have one that's particularly strong.
Yep.
And I think that hurts those two. I think that hurts them because they're not being shown as strong. They're being shown as girls, which there's nothing wrong with being a girl because I am one.
Right. But I don't know that that's
could,
the best way to like do a wrestling team.
They should be stronger.
Yeah.
Like what they've not shown to be strong. Like they could use some Roman Reigns booking right about now because they're not making nobody's making them look strong.
Nope.
And they're
Yep, and they're to the point where I think you've got to do something to change people's perception of them at this point. Right now they're the dummies who get beat even though they've got a numbers advantage, which isn't really a great place to be.
And I mean, and I know that wins and losses don't really count, but they do because they are a perception thing.
It's a perception thing. Exactly, yep.
So the more you see people lose or the more you see people win, the more inclined you are to think, well, they're obviously they're money or they're good because they don't win or they don't lose or they suck because they don't win. Wait, did I say that right? I don't know. Anyways, but I think everybody understands what I'm trying to say right there.
Yep. I was with you, I think.
Okay.
All right, so main event time.
Yay!
So we've talked a little bit about it, but yeah, I mean, I am with you. Like I said, as much as I'm totally geeking out already at just the prospect of Joe showing up tonight because I'm a giant Samoa Joe fan, but this was the best NXT main event we've had in a while.
Dude, it really was, and I don't want to like pin it on Joe because he was basically the main event guy last year, and he's good, and I like him. I love him actually, but he just I don't know. I just felt like he didn't click terribly well with Balor or Shinsuke Nakamura.
Well, I also think it's something to go back to something you said about Dillinger that like Ty, even though he's in his late 30s or whatever, isn't showing the wear and tear. I think understandably Joe is not what he was 10 years ago because he's been having these kind of strong style matches the whole time. So a Joe match now isn't this. He's trying to have the same kind of match he had in 2008, but he can't quite do it. And I do also think there's something to be said for like the chemistry just was. I mean, I'm not that big. I mean, Finn is fine in the ring, but he's not somebody that I ever am like, sucked in by really or something. I don't know what the right way to say it is, but
have you admitted to that before, Sean?
I have. I have gotten a great deal of anger from some people for not loving Finn Balor in all the ways I'm supposed to.
I find him impressive, but not connecting. I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, that's totally. I mean, we're on the exact same page there. No surprise. I mean, I recognize the skills. I just don't really care that much, which is, Whereas as opposed to somebody like Bobby Roode, who I guess I recognize he's not. He's not the world's greatest worker. He's not a really flashy worker, but he does what he's supposed to, and I usually care about what he's doing.
Yes. Or like, yes. No, I think you're right. I feel like that about The Miz sometimes. Like, he's not what I would call a terribly flashy wrestler, but his character is on fucking point.
Yep.
He's a fantastic performer, and I always care what he's doing, whether I love him or hate him. Usually I love him, though, so... Yeah. I'm one of those people. Well, I'm one of those jerks.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. I mean, he's been doing it for a long time, regardless of what they give him. He manages to, make a shit sandwich out of shit, or so. I don't know. That's not the right.
Yeah, and I feel like Bobby Roode could be in a similar vein. I think he's not the most gifted wrestler, but I definitely enjoy him.
Yeah,
and I think it's mostly because of his character work.
And
he took his theme song and he ran with it and made a huge thing out of it. So I mean,
that's what I that. A lot of people are like, "Well, he's just a theme song," but you could give this theme song to somebody else, and that would be all it is. I mean, that's to me. As much as I enjoyed No Way Jose live, No Way Jose is not Bobby Roode. He's got a super over entrance, and his matches are still sort of like nah.
I'm with you 100%.
And Roode has a super over entrance, but he's also turned that into. He can also. I mean, I thought the contract signing was great. I thought his first heel promo was great. I thought this match was great. I thought his post match stuff was great. I mean, he takes he takes the gift he's been given with that entrance and that theme song and continues to build on it instead of just like coasting on it.
Yes, I 100% agree with you on that, and I think that yeah, that's part of what you can give somebody an amazing theme song, but you don't necessarily, if you don't give them anything else to work with, they're not. It doesn't matter how great that song is. They're just like, yeah, I really like this song, but what is the character?
Yep.
What is that? And the character has to go with it, and you have to, and in order to have such a magnificently glorious theme song, you have to exude that.
Yep.
Levels of like I am just the best. I am so great. I am so glorious. That's and he did it, and he's done it, and he delivers well enough in the ring that I don't, he doesn't have to be an amazing wrestler, but he's well enough that it works with his character.
Yep.
And yeah, so I don't know. I really dug this match. I really liked how brutal it seemed without being, like, oh God, like I was saying, those bumps that Shinsuke took, some of them, I seriously thought, did he really injure himself? Did he kill himself? When he took that tumble out of and fell backwards and hit the apron, I was just like, oh my God, did he die? Is he dead? Did he die? Is he dead? Did he break his neck? Are we looking at a horrifying situation? Yep. Oh my God, I want to see anyone actually die because that would be really horrible. But no, I thought that Shinsuke put himself into this match a lot more than it seemed like he really put the effort forward, I mean, okay, look, I don't want to be that asshole, but sometimes it really seems like Shinsuke's phoning it in. Every once in a while, I get the hint that he's just kind of like, I'm really going to give this as much as it needs. But this one, it seemed like he was really going for it. Like he was, and that, like you could feel it. You could see it and you could feel it. And it just seemed like, I think that's what made this match so much better than I think any of us would expect it to be. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure none of us were thinking we were going to see some kind of a barn burner. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's like, I think your prediction for the match was like what everybody was thinking, which is these entrances are going to be dope, and then there will also be a match. And the entrances were dope, and then there was a really good match, and like we said, it wasn't a technical masterpiece, but they told a great story. I mean, that's it's some of the knocks on Shinsuke, I think, a lot of times he doesn't follow through on selling stuff, and he sold not only the knee at the end, but he sold his shoulder and neck thing from the fall really well throughout, I thought.
Which is, again, I wasn't sure at that point, are you selling or are you actually hurt? And you're like, fuck it, I'm going to work through this. Because I was just like, he is the type of person who seems like he would be like, fuck it, I want to work through this, when he's like super beat the fuck up.
Yep.
No, that was some scary shit. Like, I was really good. I really liked it. I was so happy that it was not boring. I think at the end, I was a little afraid it was going to be a boring as hell match.
It kind of started slow, and then they never really sped up, but they just made everything. They just ramped up the intensity, I guess.
Yes, it was very impactful. Like the shit that happened was just like it made a point, and it was. I mean, it pulled you along. Like you were just like, okay, I got to see what happens next, and that's something that I look for in a match. Like, what's going to happen? I don't know. And yeah, it wasn't towards the end until I thought, oh my God, Bobby Roode might win. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is are they really gonna pull that trigger? Are they gonna do it? Because I remember being shocked as hell that Joe won at Toronto.
Yep.
I mean, I was super shocked that happened. I was less shocked about this because it was like they built to it.
Right.
And that was really cool because you don't see that as much anymore. This building to that particular, to the win where you're like, oh my God, is he going to win? Is he going to be able to pull this out? Is he going to, I don't know, when he took that Kinshasa, I was like, oh, maybe he's gone. He's down.
Yep.
No, Shinsuke's too injured. Oh, Jesus.
I mean, a big thing that I liked about this too is, we talked about with the Billy and Peyton stuff where, we kind of knew they weren't going to cover each other. So we just went with it. And they did a few things in this match where like they could have done the stereotypical don't think about it pro wrestling thing, and then they didn't do it. Like Roode staying down when Shinsuke wanted to hit the Kinshasa the first time, or even like early on when Shinsuke did the taunt thing and Roode was like, no, I'm not running over there. Screw you. I mean, they did a few. They did things that just made like common sense, good strategy instead of just doing the next pro wrestling thing, which I think it helped with the suspense because you were on edge, like, oh, they're not going to do exactly. They're not just going to go through the motions, which I think that was also a problem with the Joe Nakamura thing. I think especially once we got to where they were showing the matches from Australia and Japan, we're just like, all right, we've seen these. They're just sort of put in the same spots in different order. We know what's happening. So that even though like the win or loss might have been surprising, the match itself was never really kept you on edge.
Well, because we'd seen it.
Yeah,
we'd seen it, and I think there was boy, and how. I mean, I think there was a certain staleness to the main event, to the men's title, and all of that. There was just a certain spark that was missing. It was almost like. Yeah, it was kind of like they were like, we're tired, let's not kill ourselves, which is fine, but that's not exciting wrestling.
No,
that's the story that I want to hear, is that you're tired. If you're tired, then you should quit.
Yeah.
Then you should be done.
And that kind of goes along with, and that, maybe this is part of like the message Triple H was sending, was that those matches being in the main event were like, that was like the year that people stopped buzzing about NXT too. So maybe.
And everybody focused on the tag team stuff because the tag team stuff was fresh and it was different, and you never saw the same.
And they never
match
seemed
twice.
like and it never seemed like they were phoning it in.
Not ever.
And unfortunately, it was just always in the middle of the card, which is my argument. Like, I still feel like let's move those guys up. But hey, I mean, if they can keep having matches of the quality that we got in the main event last night, then I won't complain about those matches being in the main event.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly it. Is you just gotta, I need the fire, I need the passion, and I just wasn't feeling it for the main event, like for the last year or so, and I don't want to blame it on those guys because I mean, I'm still entertained. I'm just not as entertained as I probably could be.
It became, I mean, and I think that's the problem for NXT for much of 2016 is it became, a good show, but not one that you rushed to tell your friends about or that you rushed to rewatch. It was just like, oh,
matches.
I was sports entertained for an hour or 2 hours, and now I'm going to go watch something else. Whereas 2014, 2015 NXT was like, holy shit, you got to see this dude.
Well, it was because it was a more complete thing, and it didn't feel so battered and beat up, but it was the matches that were the big deal in NXT. Right. Like they were like, have you seen this tag team match? Like, holy shit, we're talking about tag teams, you guys. We never give it. I mean, the main roster is the perfect example of like tag teams don't mean shit. You got like all these guys. What are you doing with them? You brought all these guys up from NXT, and what are you doing with them? Fuck all. You're doing nothing with them. Like, look at Enzo and Cass. What do they do? You know what? I don't even know what they're doing right now. I don't really care. And like who are the other tag teams? There's Sheamus and Cesaro. That isn't even a real tag team. That is two singles dudes that they don't have.
We're all just waiting for them to break up and feud again. Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, they're John Cena and Randy Orton, but on the mid card level. Basically. And then you have Anderson and Gallows, who I actually feel really bad for because they could be doing something great, right? They could be. But how when they are so hamstrung? I mean, it's disappointing and depressing, but still people were talking about tag team wrestling last year in a major way because of the revival. As they always say that they have revived tag team wrestling. Absolutely the truth.
It's a good name for them.
Right? I was not a big fan when I first heard the name.
I wasn't either, but they like everything else, they've made it work. That's true. That's true.
Anything was better than that.
Yep. Still.
But so to see that having Bobby Roode in there, so take that back to the main event for this, when you have these people and when they give a shit, when they put a lot of effort into it, it pays off and you can see it. And I think that is why that for the first time in a long time, the main event was badass. It felt really good because you felt like they were really, really putting in a lot of effort. And I think that's another reason why, as a whole, the show felt like a great show. Even if I think it was actually probably just a really good show, I don't think it was, because I don't think it had any matches that really compared to some of the amazing shit we saw last year. But I think that the reason why this felt like such a good show is because it seemed like everybody was putting effort into it. Even if the weakest match on the card, which I think was the women's event, or the women's match, I think that was probably the least best. But there was potential there that just didn't quite reach like the other matches did. And I think because it's the effort, you could feel the effort, and therefore it felt like a better show than it probably actually was. But it was it was good because of the effort, I think, personally.
I'm with you, because that sort of ties into my whole theory of like Triple H is like using his I'm not happy with it as a motivating factor. I think that works for me. But I agree. I think we saw guys busting their asses out there, which is a lot of times where that makes a difference.
No, it does. It absolutely does. Like when you feel like there's actually stakes that people are really trying hard for, that they're working so hard for, then they're not phoning it in.
Exactly.
Because I can't tell you how many matches, I can't even I've lost count of how many matches I've seen where it seems like at least one person in that match is fucking phoning it in completely. And you're just like, I don't care about this. I don't give a shit about this, because they don't care. If they don't care, why should I?
And NXT, NXT is something where I'm willing to give like a Raw or a SmackDown guy a bit more of the benefit of the doubt for that, because you're on the road all over the country or the world 4 or 5 days a week. You're probably working the same matches over and over again. With NXT, I mean, they travel more than they used to, but still, you're mostly hanging out in fucking Florida and training. And so when the moment comes, step it up.
Dude, you're on a big platform and you're live.
Yep.
Like make it good, make it count. But again, if you like I said, I think this was a good show because it seemed like everybody gave a shit, and therefore it makes us care more.
Yep.
And so that was good. I was really pleased with the show.
And low expectations helped. So there you go. Those are our two themes: effort and not getting our hopes up too high.
God, no. I mean, yeah, no. I thought I was a little afraid of dumpster fire territory with this thing. I mean, it wasn't even that the builds weren't really there. It was like I don't give a shit about most of these people.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like all the criticisms about NXT seemed like they might come together here to like give us our first really bad show, and they didn't. I think some of the same problems are still there. They definitely still have work to do.
Oh no, absolutely.
I mean, they didn't suddenly give Almas and strong characters. I think there's still a lot of work to be done, but
definitely.
But they kept their streak of good live shows alive. So
yeah, I'm proud of that.
And I still like watching them try to figure this out. I mean, they're trying to do something new with this whole, being developmental and its own thing. And so that's one of my big takeaway from the Triple H thing is I want to see if they do sort of treat it as a little bit more of a, lesser but equal brand.
I just think that they need a little bit of, they need to rework it a little bit. I mean, I feel it seems like they don't necessarily know what direction that they want to go in. Like they're kind of half a foot in this thing and half a foot in this other thing, and then the other half of one of those foots is in like a toe is in something else, and it's. I mean, just they just need a little bit of an overhaul.
Yep.
And need to like. Basically do a better, like a very, very clear defined mission statement that everyone knows what it is, which is not unlike a regular business.
Exactly. Right.
Like what is the point of our business? We're selling shoes,
Yep.
What's the point of our business? We want to entertain people with our sports.
Yep.
Entertain. Oh, that came up bad.
No, but I think you're right though. And I think they should probably get back to something basic like that too. And don't worry about, are you developmental? Are there too many TNA guys? Are we signing this or that? Just doesn't matter. Whoever's here, the job is to go out there. Just like Vince always says, we all roll our eyes, but the job is to put smiles on people's faces. So go out there and bust your ass to entertain people.
Yeah, and there's a place for, like, I know that people get down about the whole TNA thing, but these are guys who want to work.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not like super broken old crap shoes that you found in the dumpster. These are like Bobby Roode really, really did something special with himself in this last, 6 months or so, or however long he's been around. I think about 6 months now, is it? Or is it 7?
Well, he showed up at Dallas, so he's been around for a year, but I think it's probably more like 7 since he actually debuted because he just showed up like in the crowd at Dallas. So.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Oh, what did you think about Joe just being in the crowd?
I know,
just like,
right?
Just like in the crowd.
Just sitting here.
Like, I'm done with this shit.
I know, and
I'm done with this shit.
I guess he must have left, or otherwise I would think his sheer hatred of Shinsuke would cause him to jump out of the crowd and try to kill him, like muscle memory. But
right, just like, oh.
I know they had a few. I mean, I think they had a few like Rumble teases because they showed him. They showed the kid that won the UK Championship tournament, who I imagine they'll have him
Tyler Bate.
They'll have him show up tonight. Just just so they can plug the UK Championship tournament.
Have him eliminate a couple guys and then get eliminated by somebody big and
exactly.
Big and beefy.
Yeah. He'll throw Heath Slater out or something and then get thrown out himself. Something.
Who do you think? Do you think that anyone aside from Joe is going to make a surprise entrant into the Rumble?
From
NXT.
From NXT, I don't actually. I think, and I kind of hope. I don't know. Everybody's sort of hoping for Ty, but I just don't think that makes sense. I mean, it sort of blows his story a little bit. And like I said, since I'm kind of excited about them having NXT stories matter on Raw and SmackDown, to have him show up tonight smiley and just like, oh, I'm number 10, I don't know, sort of defeats that for me. But maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's like you could always explain it away like he wouldn't turn down a Rumble berth. So, like,
who's going to say no to that? I mean, You're just like, are you ready to go, Ty? Yes, I am. Of course he is. So,
and it could be like Sammy last year where somebody shows up tonight and then is still working NXT for the next several months. So absolutely. Joe's the only one I'm confident in, though. I think they could. I don't think after the way they told the Nakamura story last night, I don't think you can have him show up. There's, he had
200.
Yeah, I mean, he had to be freaking carted off or whatever, almost everything but carted off. So I don't think you can have him run in tonight.
No, I don't think so either.
And it's such a star-studded Rumble. I kind of would, I would rather them focus on really making Joe look like $1 million as opposed to trying to impress us with a few people.
I agree with that. I think that it would be really cool. I personally, I'm very interested in Joe being in it. I'm not gonna lie, I would like to see Ty Dillinger at 10, if only because it is what the people want.
That's true. But WWE has never been good about using the Rumble to give people what they want. But they can have them eliminated like immediately. Yeah. Although I also like the idea of having Ty show up at 9 or 11 just to fuck with everybody.
You're not good enough.
That's the troll in me. I just want to see. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Reality, Joe is the only real choice, but I would not be upset if Ty got in especially if it came in at 10. But I think it'd be super hilarious, and I feel like it would be just the exact humor that you have of, but wouldn't it be funnier if he came in at number 11?
Right.
Or better yet, he comes out as 10, but Seth Rollins comes out, tosses him into the crowd, and takes his spot.
But then Seth will be a heel again, so we can't do that.
That's not necessarily true.
I don't know. I think this will be a smarky enough crowd. Although I don't know. I mean, I think this. I don't know if they. I wonder how many people you think they're going to get. I know they're not going to fill the Alamo Dome, but I mean, is it really like going to be 40,000 people? This is going to be crazy.
It should be. I mean, the whole place actually holds a lot more than that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know what's going to happen, and I guess that's a good thing. So
I think that this is a good weekend for wrestling. I think this is a good weekend. This is one of the first good weekends for wrestling all around, as opposed to, we're just like, well, NXT TakeOver is going to be better.
Yep.
Which we all thought it was going to be like, ugh. And maybe some of that disappointment that we had, or that potential disappointment that we had for last night's show, is because we were all really looking forward to this year's because of the unpredictability. Yep. And hey,
it's always awesome. So
it actually went well because last night was pretty surprising. So maybe today will be really surprising, and we'll just be like, wow, or we'll be like, oh, come on.
I don't know. I'm down. Let's stay positive, which is not my usual character trait, but we're gonna do it anyway.
No, Sean, you are positive. It's Gino who's not positive.
I always think compared to him, I guess I'm more of like a realist, but yeah.
Well, no, that's how I feel. It's because we're old. We're old people because we've seen a lot, and therefore we're sitting there thinking,
so we know not to overreact too much especially not to wrestling stuff. So,
do you have any other final thoughts on the show from last night?
I don't think so. I mean, like I said,
winners of the awards.
I'm gonna miss the hell out of Corey Graves, but I'm trying to not think about that too much.
I think it sucks that Corey's not going to be there, especially with how great his chemistry was with everybody yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, like, on the commentator, and he reminds me a lot of Bobby Heenan, which all-time favorite, one of my ever.
Yep.
Love him so much as a child, and
Which is why he's getting moving on to bigger things, because he's just that good, really.
Yeah, I know, and he has come so far so fast. And it's
that's what I was thinking last night. Like when they did the thing, whichever was that, like before Arrival or something. It was one of the really early first live specials where they did the thing where Triple H came to him and said, "You can't wrestle anymore, but we're going to give you this contract." I was like, oh, I don't know what to think about that, because I was never a big fan of his promos as a wrestler. But man, was I wrong? He's awesome.
He's a study. He's a smart guy, and you just have to really like him. I just really like him. I think he's great. I'm really glad that I'm really proud that he's came from basically never being able to wrestle again to being revered practically as a.
He's probably bigger as a talker than he ever would have been as a wrestler, honestly. So which is
surprising,
sometimes
right?
things work out. Yep.
Do you feel about his replacement that is okay? I thought it was the only appropriate.
I think they're going to have to sort of rework everything, because I think Nigel's great, and I think he's going to do a really good job at the kind of stuff that I mentioned earlier, like where Corey kind of covers for a gap in the story or explains why a move works or something. Nigel will be great at that. He's not going to be the over the top heel guy though, so they're going to have to. Do they go with 3 babyface announcers? Because I can't see Percy going heel.
I think it'll be a dry sort of announcer, because British people have a reputation for just being, where they're being fun, they sound like they're being total assholes. Right. But they're actually having a laugh at you. It's like, oh, that's so funny, but they don't say that, of course. And Percy, his name is Percy, right?
Yes, his name is Percy. Which sort of tells you everything you need to know, right?
You know what though? I thought he was actually not bad during TakeOver.
I think he's shown flashes where he might be okay, but part of his problem is that he's trying to be over the top and Graves is over the top, so they sort of cancel each other out. So maybe with Nigel being dry, Percy can be over the top and it'll all work. So it's going to be different, and like I said on Twitter, I have to. Just as a fan, I have to not try to compare it to what it was like before and just try to appreciate it as it becomes its own thing. Because it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me because I love Graves, and there's going to be moments where I'm going to I wish somebody had been there to yell Kinshasa or whatever. But
you still have Raw.
That's true, but it's not going to be the same.
Have him on Raw. No, I feel you.
Unless he's going to start saying "Shut up, Cole."
Oh God, Michael Cole's been so much better since the brand split, though.
He has. I've always loved. I mean, Cole's. He is. It is what it is. But I've always been a little bit of a Cole defender, even when he was doing his heel stuff. I think the dude tries really hard, and
I felt bad for Michael Cole exactly one time in my entire life, and that was when I watched him get F5'd by Brock Lesnar.
And that was he sold the hell out of that too, though.
I was actually there.
Wow.
I was literally at ringside for that, and
I'm getting F5'd out of his shoe.
Dude, the shoe just went by. It was so funny, but I did feel bad for him because I was like that didn't look like it felt very good. No. I mean, because it wasn't Dawson. I swear to God, if you don't get down. I'm sorry, my cat Dawson was being a little bastardized just now. But anyways,
he's living up to his name.
Yeah, no, he's dumber than Scott Dawson. Bless his heart, but just as handsome.
Well,
and on that note.
All right. Anything? So that's it. I got nothing else. We've been talking. We've been gabbing for a while because it's easy to gab with you, D.
I love you, Sean.
I love you, D. All right, so we're excited about tonight. I don't know, if we're not back sooner, we'll be back to talk TakeOver Orlando with you, which is amazingly just a couple months away. So,
wow.
I know, right? All right, everybody. Enjoy the Rumble.
Bye.